TimmyG. Welcome to my track breakdown of making dubstep by only using the test oscillator in Logic Pro. All the sounds used in this track were generated through the test oscillator, and the only effects I used were EQ, compression, pitch shifting, and the fade tool. Today's video goes over how to make the drop of this track. The last 3 videos went over how to make the drums, how to make the bass, and how to make the synths for this track. And if you haven't seen those, I'll leave the link in the video description below. But anyway, let's get started. The next part that I'm going to do is actually not going to be the synthesizer that is the dubstep bass. I'm going to do the chords that I did in the background. So here's what those chords sound like. And what I did for these chords is I used the square wave, and I believe I used a high frequency, like a few octaves, maybe a couple octaves above that 440 hertz. So anyway, I picked the note here, and then I used the fade tool, as you can see. But here's what it sounds like by itself. And at first I just tried playing the chord, so that A minor chord. So if I played this note down here, right here, close enough, and then this note right here, just together, I thought it sounded a little boring, but here's what it sounded like. So anyway, I didn't like that. So then I played it like this, kind of had him, kind of like a piano player would play them, not all at the same time, but very shortly after. So like this. And I thought that sounded cooler, but I wanted to make it a little bit better. So what I did is I kind of made this manual echo. So I have this note copied twice afterwards. So this is, let's see, this is, I think it's like 140 of these little microscopic units of measure away. So I had it here, here, and here, and then afterwards for the second note, for the C, I had it here, here, and here, then here, here, and here. And then I had this volume is at -15, this one's at -23, and this one's at -32. So each time it echoes out, it loses volume. I could do this technically until all the way minus infinity, but -3 was perfectly fine. So here's what they sound like all together again. So that's about it for the background chords. The last thing before I show how I made this, my wubs synth, is these square waves as kind of background for the drop, so it doesn't sound as empty. So here's what they sound like. And what I did is I just basically took, I'll zoom in on these. I took square waves with that A note, but it kind of sounded very dry and boring. So I detuned both of them. One of them I increased by 10 cents up, and then this one I increased by 10 cents down, just to give a little bit of, to make it a little fatter. It's kind of like how like a house synthesizer is made. So just for reference, here's what it would sound like if they weren't detuned. And to cancel that out, I'm hitting Alt and clicking. And here's what they do sound like. This one was +10, and this one was -10. So here's what that sounds like. So a little bit more full. And that's about it for the background elements. And now we have the drop. So here's what it sounds like by itself. So I'm using a square wave again for both of these. I have wub high, which is just the higher part, which sounds like this. And then wub low, which is kind of just gives it a little bit more like grittiness to it. It's like this. And they're both square waves. And the way to kind of get that sound a little bit actually kind of like dubstep is to use the speed up and slow down tool very quickly. So if you see like this orangish, pinkish fade tool, that's just, it's speeding up and slowing down. So it's starting from basically nothing and then going up really quickly and then playing just the note just for a tiny bit and then coming right back down and then repeating. And then I just change the notes from time to time to make that little bass line. And then I have the sub bass underneath it. So once again, here's what this drop sounds like. Nothing soloed out. No nothing. So that's how I made my dubstep track by only using the test oscillator. I had a lot of fun with it, and it was kind of interesting to have to try to make something with very limited options. But other than that, that's about it. If you like this video or if it helped you out, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or video suggestions, be sure to leave a comment. If you want to see more content like this and check out my original music, DJ performances, or DJ tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot.